Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Know Your Rights program with the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Association. We're thrilled you're with us this afternoon. This is part of an ongoing series of videos that we are creating to make sure that you understand what headlines you're seeing out there in the newspaper about immigration. What's real? What's the most important? How do you pay attention to it? How do you protect those around you? And how do you understand good things from bad things? And so with that, there are a lot of programs that we're going to be planning coming up. But I want to highlight one from last week. I held an interview with Pat Espinoza, who is a board member here at the CMBA, about the Know Your Rights from the perspective of organizations that provide direct services to immigrants in our communities. That was really great. You can find it on the homepage of the website, which is clemetrobar.org. So go check that out and share that video out with your friends. All of the resources in this area of law we're providing for free. Those links are there, so please share them out with anybody that you think might find value in them. Last night, I moderated a panel with Pat Espinoza again, and also with Lynn Tremonti from the Ohio Immigrant Alliance. We were at Happy Dog on behalf of the City Club, talking about immigration enforcement, talking about ICE in the communities and what's happening in Minnesota right now, and how that may or may not be coming to Ohio. That podcast recording is available on the City Club's website. If you look in their archive section, you'll see it tagged under ICE Takes. City Club Takes on ICE. That's what it's called. So you'll be able to go check that out and learn more. Really, really informative. A couple of people on the panel, and then also to hear some great questions from the audience about things that they really want to understand in their own communities. Speaking of very important people, we have some of those with us today to discuss an important topic for attorneys and immigrants to understand, specifically the good and the bad of using a notario instead of a lawyer. And I'm going to let these folks explain more about what that means. But it's very, very important to understand the difference and why it may be useful in some situations and why you should be aware in other situations. So joining us today are two members of our executive committee for the International Law section, Stacy Cozart Martin, managing member and partner at MJB, and Adriana Coppola, supervising attorney at Catholic Legal Immigration Network, and also bar counsel Ted Fowles, and director of legal services here at the bar, and Mr. Everything when it comes to law inside of these walls. And so thank you to Stacy, Adrian, and Ted for being a part of this. And Stacy, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris. So what are we here to talk about today? The primary topics for today are who can help you in your immigration quest, right? Do you need a lawyer? Can you hire someone that isn't a lawyer to help you fill out your immigration paperwork, maybe go to your removal proceedings or attend an interview with you at USCIS? So what we wanted to tackle first was a topic that comes up a lot in the practice of law. What is a notario, right? Or someone that may be calling themselves a tax preparer. Someone that has advertised that they can help you fill out your immigration documentation, most likely your immigration forms, sometimes your asylum applications, sometimes your marriage-based cases, sometimes your work authorization or your TPS filings. So first, what is a notario or a tax preparer? Those are people who are not licensed to practice law in the United States. So notarios or notaries could potentially be a licensed attorney in their country of birth, but they have not taken the bar and they have not been licensed in the United States to perform any type of legal work. So what do you do if you see your friend maybe went to a notario, or maybe a friend referred you to someone who can help you fill out your immigration paperwork, but again, is not an attorney? Would we recommend that? What I can tell you is that in practicing for over 26 years in the immigration sphere, I have seen a lot of notarios or tax preparers make fatal errors in filling out immigration paperwork. You might hear someone say, well, it's just filling out a form. Unfortunately, it is not just filling out a form. There's a lot of legal analysis that goes into these applications. Sometimes it happens where people who aren't even eligible to file these applications get their applications filed, or sometimes when you are eligible, the notario doesn't quite understand the nuances and then doesn't file paperwork for you. So technically, a notario could fill out a legal document or a legal form for you. Could they provide you legal advice in regards to that form? No. Could they do a legal analysis to see if you are eligible to fill out that form? No. Could they tell you what's going to happen after you fill out that form? Potentially. They could tell you what could happen, but they cannot tell you anything in regards to the law. So all they can simply do is type your information into a form, give it back to you, have you submit it to the Immigration Service. We would strongly recommend against you doing that for a multitude of reasons, most of which is that most notarios or tax preparers are not familiar with the nuances of immigration law. They don't know the regulations. They aren't aware of certain things that could make you inadmissible or that could bar you from filing your applications. So Ted's going to talk a little bit about how you find out if someone is a lawyer or is not a lawyer and what you should do. And Adrian's going to talk about really more of not a notario, but something that is called a DOJ representative, which has a different task or role in the immigration process. So Adrian, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great, thank you, Stacy. So again, I'm going to talk about what a DOJ accredited rep is, who they are, what they can do, and how they are regulated in the United States. So immigration law is federal, it's complex, and it's high stakes, and many immigrants, particularly low-income individuals, do not have access to private attorneys. So to address this gap, the federal government created a formal system that allows certain non-attorneys to actually lawfully provide legal immigration services. That system is known as the Department of Justice Recognition and Accreditation Program. And this is important because DOJ accredited reps are not notarios. They are authorized legal providers operating under what we call federal oversight. So the program has two parts. First, a nonprofit or religious organization must be recognized by the DOJ. The DOJ reviews whether the organization has the knowledge, the supervision, and the resources necessary to provide competent immigration legal services. Second, once an organization is recognized to host DOJ reps, individual staff members at that organization may apply for what they call accreditation. And accreditation is granted to the individual, not the organization as a whole. And it's valid only while that person works at the recognized organization. So that's very important. And there are actually two levels of accreditation. There's partially accredited reps and fully accredited reps. A partially accredited rep can provide legal advice. They can prepare and file applications with USCIS, and they can communicate with the Department of Homeland Security, but they cannot represent clients in immigration court. A fully accredited representative may do all of those things and may also represent clients in immigration court and before the Board of Immigration Appeals. So within immigration proceedings, a fully accredited rep is authorized to practice immigration law just like an attorney is. DOJ accreditation is limited and it's regulated. Accredited reps may practice only immigration law and only through their recognized organization. So they cannot operate a private practice, or they cannot provide services independently outside of that recognized organization. If someone claims to be an accredited rep but runs a private business, or they can't identify their recognized organization, that's a clear red flag. So if you need to determine whether or not somebody is a DOJ accredited rep, this can be verified by checking the DOJ's public list of recognized organizations and accredited representatives. So they have a website for that where you can see everybody that has current accreditation and recognition. It's also very important to distinguish DOJ accredited reps from notarios. So again, an accredited rep is authorized by the federal government. They work at a recognized nonprofit. They're trained, they're supervised, and they're regulated. And notarios, as Stacy said, they're not authorized to practice law. They often misrepresent their credentials, and they frequently cause serious harm to their client's case. So if you run into a situation where a DOJ accredited rep provides poor legal advice or otherwise acts improperly, the issue here isn't actually unauthorized practice because they're authorized to practice. Instead, it's a matter of professional misconduct, as it would be with an attorney. The DOJ accredited reps are actually regulated by the DOJ through something called the Office of Legal Access Programs. So complaints can be formally submitted to that office, and the DOJ can investigate, they can require corrective action, they can suspend or revoke accreditation, and in serious cases, they can terminate an organization's recognition in full. So for attorneys, if you find yourself evaluating potential notarial fraud, particularly someone who claims to be a DOJ rep, which is happening nationwide, unfortunately, one important question to ask is whether the person was a DOJ rep working at a recognized organization at the time the services were provided. So if that's true, the issue should be directed to DOJ oversight. And if not, that raises concerns about unauthorized practice of law. So I am going to turn it over to, I believe, Ted to talk about the sources to determine if the person is an attorney.
Thanks, Adriana. Like Chris said, I work for the CMBA. I'm an attorney, and I'm the director of legal services over there. And I would just say for Adriana's piece, if you don't know where to start, you can complain about anything with us, and we'll sort it out for you. So we're here to serve, and we're happy to help. One of the primary roles of our organization is to protect the public from individuals that lack the necessary legal training, qualifications, and hold those individuals accountable when appropriate. And one of the ways we do that is by enforcing the rules established by the Supreme Court of Ohio to ensure that legal services, which is a lot of what Stacy and Adriana have talked about, are only provided by attorneys licensed to practice law or, as Adriana talked about, DOJ accredited representatives. And in Ohio, all lawyers are responsible to register with the Ohio Supreme Court. And if you are interested on your own, you can go to their website. It's supremecourt.ohio.gov. And on there, you see a tab that says attorneys. You can click on that tab. And under there, there's an attorney directory search. And you can type a name in there and you should find a name in there if they say they're an attorney licensed to practice law in Ohio. If you think you're working with someone licensed in another state and you're curious about that, please give us a call. The registration is not uniform throughout the United States, but we're happy to research that issue for you and get back to you on whether or not they're licensed to practice law in a particular jurisdiction. So why does this matter to you? We have the authority for individuals that represent themselves as attorneys, but they're not, to investigate those individuals. And more importantly, if someone is an attorney, we can investigate them as well, and we can hold them accountable when they fail to meet their ethical responsibilities. And for you, if your client, if you feel that you are owed money by your attorney, you can ask us to help recoup some of the funds, or we can help you find an attorney to sue a lawyer for malpractice if you think that they have failed to represent you properly. These same protections do not apply if you're working with someone who's not an attorney. I would also add that by ensuring you're working with a licensed attorney, this helps us ensure that you're receiving help with legal issues by professionals that meet the rigorous standards expected of lawyers practicing law, and helps maintain trust and confidence in the system.
I think we lost Ted there for a minute. But so even if you hire an attorney who doesn't handle your case correctly, you can report that attorney to the Bar Association. And even if you hire someone who is not an attorney, you can also report that to the Bar Association. There is an unauthorized practice of law committee where you can file a complaint in regards to someone who is not a lawyer that either said they were a lawyer or acted like a lawyer, and you found out later on that they were not a lawyer. Um, so there are remedies. If you are a foreign national, even if you are undocumented in the United States, you can still come forward and report any misuse by an attorney or a notario to the Bar Association without fear of reporting. So please do so. If you question whether someone is a representative or whether they're a notario, you can always ask them, where are they registered? What is their registration number? Who could they contact to verify their registration? A lot of notarios I've seen advertise that they say they're licensed to practice law, and then in very small print, it will say the country in which they are licensed to practice in. So if you're getting a weird feeling, you're getting contradicting advice, maybe you're calling and they're not available anymore and you've paid them a lot of money. Those are kind of red flags that you need to come forward and report so that no one else is harmed in processing their paperwork. Even if you just have a simple question, Ted and Chris at the Bar Association are available to answer any questions about any type of a legal situation. So please don't hesitate to contact them and try to report the information, because ultimately it's going to help everyone if people who are not licensed to practice or aren't doing good work are reported to the Bar Association so that everyone doesn't suffer. And I can turn it back over to you, Ted, if you want to finish up on what you were saying.
Nope, Stacy, I think that's great. I would just, you have my contact information is on the slide. Feel free to give me a call or send me an email, and we will assist you in any way we can.
Great. Well, please feel free to reach out. We're all available if you have questions for us. What I will say is most attorneys will talk to you quickly at no cost. And if a notario is charging a large sum of money, it might actually be more inexpensive to hire an actual immigration attorney. So the internet is your friend. Use it. Ted and Chris at the Bar Associations are your friend. Please call them. Adrian and I are here if you need support. It's a difficult time right now when we want to make sure that everyone is adequately cared for through the appropriate channels.